Hey, what are we calling this podcast?
I think we decide on film triggers? Did we like that?
Film triggers? Yeah, the Film Triggers Telekinesis Trigonometry podcast.
The Film Triggers podcast brought to you by Telekinesis Entertainment.
That sounds like...
The Telekinesis Entertainment Film Trigger podcast.
I like that better, I think. I like trigonometry. I don't...
That has nothing to do with
It's
this
going to be in
podcast.
the podcast somewhere.
Not by me.
Deal
That
with
is-
it.
Yeah, no, my thinking behind Film Triggers is that there's a site called Social Triggers that I read, and it's all about the things that trigger people's decision making.
Oh, yeah.
And for us, we're talking about the business of film.
Should we introduce ourselves before we do all of this?
Screw that. They know who we are.
Nobody knows who we are.
Everyone
I don't
knows.
even know who you are. Who
Oh.
the hell are you?
Well, I'm Darren
Hi, Darren.
Smith, and I'm a producer at Telekinesis Entertainment.
Oh, cool.
And you're a tall, foofy guy.
I'm foofy. Just
Your hair's getting foofy again.
it's
man.
getting foofy. My mother-in-law uses the word foof to describe farts. So I don't like.
So you're farty,
I have farty hair.
farty McTall guy.
Anyway, I'm Alan Seawright. I'm a director. I direct things for Telekinesis Entertainment. That's Darren Smith. He's a producer. He produces things.
Yeah, and if you've made it this far, congrats.
It's just more of this crap. That's all it is.
Film triggers, because we talk about film and things that are interesting to filmmakers. I listened to some script notes this
at
morning.
John August.
So
At
that-
Craig Mazin.
We're gonna steal that. No, but really, it's about how to get films made. It's about the craft of filmmaking. It's about the art and craft of storytelling. It's about the in the trenches, day to day operations of a production company and on
And,
set life.
Yeah,
and
so
mixed
productions.
with some tech stuff.
Yeah, we'll throw in the occasional tech thing. We have an episode coming up where we talk a whole heck of a lot about a camera. You should stay tuned for that one because it might be interesting.
Hopefully more than one episode because
We'll probably have several camera related episodes because we've been buying cameras.
and
We've been
using
buying them.
cameras and renting cameras and
It's been crazy
looking at cameras on the internet.
up in here.
We have opinions about those cameras.
We have you're gonna listen to our opinions and maybe watch them, but watching is boring.
If you've made it this far,
If you've made it this far, welcome to the first episode of the Film Triggers podcast, brought to you by Telekinesis Entertainment.
is that what we're going with?
Sure.
It sounds.
Insert theme music here. Da-na-da-na-da-na. All right.
Can't use that.
No, we can't. What are we talking about today, Darren?
Today, I think it was a good idea to talk about the things we've learned over now 5 years of running and operating a production company.
Has it only been 5 years?
It's 2009.
It feels like
8.
an eternity.
Yeah,
Yeah, it has been, I guess, since 2009, huh?
officially
Officially, that's right.
since 09.
Yeah.
And some major takeaways from last year where things really got serious.
ramped up.
The rubber hit the road last year. We both
Yeah.
went full time. We weren't freelancing really anymore. We weren't taking side gigs and other jobs.
Yeah,
We
it was we were 100% working on projects for Telekinesis Entertainment as opposed to we've done a lot of, over the last 5 years we've been working on our own projects with our own clients, but we've also had to take gigs on the side here and there. I've done some directing stuff. I've done a lot of visual effects work and assistant directing.
I've done
craft services once. No, that was
Yeah,
before we were
that was
in
before.
business.
Yeah, I've done post-production sound and on-set sound and
Yep.
a myriad of other jobs, and it's nice. We're both full-time, and we both still have roofs over our head, and our kids are fed. So
Yeah, none
there's something to be said about that.
of our kids have died.
Yeah.
I have 2. Darren has 3. All alive. All of them have food to eat.
Yeah, we have a very low standard of success.
Mostly clothed.
That's a very mediocre definition of what success
Hey,
is.
we're kicking ass and taking names. It's awesome. All right, so let's talk about let's You know what? Let's start with the negatives from first 4 years, and then we can do, because we got a couple of positives that we can take.
We got
away from
more
that.
positives than negatives.
And then this past year, what we've done that has been allowed us to be more financially successful
Yeah,
as a production company.
those things.
All right, what's our list of? I don't have it in front of me because I'm dumb.
No, I think it's off the cuff.
Off the cuff.
And my sleeves are rolled up, so take that to mean whatever you want.
I don't know what that means. This analogy's going over my head.
Yep. Well,
Okay.
so negative things we learned, or
Yeah.
like, or
Well,
like
some of the-
hard lessons to go through. Is that
Yeah,
more
you know, some
accurate?
of the stuff we did where we were kind of chasing our tails and.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest lessons from the very early days of what we called telekinesis entertainment, before we had actually made any income, before we had figured out what kind of value we provide to potential investors or clients, was we wrote 2 scripts.
Yeah.
We wrote a script called Cabin in the Woods
Mm-hmm.
before Joss Whedon's version came out.
Yes.
Stay tuned for ours.
It was very frustrating to have Joss Whedon co-write and then produce a film with the same title as ours that was vastly, vastly superior to anything we could come up with.
Yeah, he's got a little bit more experience than we did in 2009.
And more talent, I'd like to point out.
Arguably. If you would like to argue for us having more talent than Joss Whedon, call in at
Send-
1-800.
Send your comments to 1-800 I don't know things.
Yeah. So the big lesson, though, was that we were very naive. We wrote 2 scripts. We went through a couple iterations, so it's not like we were just going off our rough draft. That would have been stupid. But we did a couple iterations.
Like
and
that one
couple
time I
drafts.
made a movie on a first
Like
draft.
that one time. Nudge, nudge at Alan.
Boy.
But we were going after, like, what, $4 million in 2009?
Yeah, we were looking for. Well, we were looking for $5 million for one of the scripts,
Did we
and
really go
we
after
had
$5
looked
million
at.
at one point?
So we had looked at $5 million or $2.3 million for that one,
Holy cow.
and then the other one was 1.5 to 2.5 million.
Yeah. So takeaway is don't do that. You have to prove yourself
Well, and
first.
our thought was I had produced and directed a feature for $15,000. Yeah. And, so my thinking was, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to make a cheapo little thing. Unfortunately, that feature never really got released in any kind of meaningful way. And so, I mean, it wasn't even available really online until 2011.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't like trying to ask for $1 million to make a movie when I had made a movie for $15,000 that made no money and no one had seen was not realistic.
Yeah. Nor did we have a business plan or any sort of strategy.
What was our business plan?
I don't.
Do you remember?
I don't think we had one.
Our business plan was we're going to go to festivals and we're going to get in and someone's going to buy our movies. Woohoo!
Yeah, I think that combined with we have a C-list celebrity that's attached to the film,
Ugh.
and we're going
Is it even C-list?
we're going to bank on his notoriety to
Yeah.
help us get funding, and that failed miserably,
Yeah.
painfully miserably.
Very, very badly.
So that's a big lesson. Start small. Start with what you have. Start with your friends and your personal family investment money or no
Yeah.
money. You have to show that you can actually create something that has value before
And that-
someone's going to give you money to make something else that
True.
has more value.
And that being said, I did pursue that in I made a feature in 2007. We finished it in 2008. Darren was the sound supervising sound editor mastermind of all post sound. And we did exactly that. We did the ultra low / no budget movie. We didn't really pay anybody except Darren. And we made a movie, and it's people watch it and are entertained by it. So it wasn't a complete failure, but we weren't able to release it and make any money, and that's where everything kind of comes apart. No one in the business cares if you've made something that has artistic merit unless they see something in it that they can sell. And there wasn't a ton of artistic merit in what we made. I mean, it's fine. It's entertaining, I guess. But it was basically my film school.
Yeah. Alan's really hard on himself with that film. It's a fun film. Go and search for CTU Provo on YouTube, or you can go to our YouTube channel, the youtube.com/telekinesis studios.
All one word.
You can find it there online for free in its entirety.
Yep.
Let us know what you think. But yeah, so that was a big takeaway for me. Probably the biggest. I've got a second one.
We were pursuing the sort of 90s, indie film trajectory, and we weren't realizing that was a model that at that point was 15 years out of date.
I also don't think we were doing it consciously. I think we were just kind of going through motions that were in front of us, but we weren't really making strategic decisions or.
Well, we didn't know
really
anything about the business.
Out. No, we didn't. And
about the business. I mean,
Yeah.
At that point we knew how to make a movie as far as produce a movie and how to point cameras at things.
Yeah.
And I think I can direct actors, etc. So we can make a movie, but actually marketing and selling a movie and doing the business side, we had no idea.
Right. So that was probably my biggest takeaway.
That's easily mine as well. And we all of 2009 we spent doing that because there wasn't any freelance work available because of the financial crisis.
Yeah, it was fun times.
Yeah, it was
I
super
sold
cool.
cars for 4 months.
Yeah.
Because of how sucky it was to work in film.
I worked as a waiter. I went back to waiting tables at Red Robin and wanted to die.
Yeah.
Every day that I went there. That lasted for about 2 months. Then I started editing again, and then
things started looking up from there.
Yeah. And then after that, from 2010 until 2014, I mean, what were our moves business-wise? I mean, we were kind of sort of going after clients.
Yeah, so we went from I have a weird trajectory of wanting to be a sound designer, full-time sound designer, and then got into writing scripts with you.
Right.
And then we realized we can't sell any of the things we're doing, or we can't get money for it unless we have a producer, and we didn't know how to get a producer, so I decided to become a producer.
Basically what happened is I dragged you kicking and screaming into jobs that you had never thought of, but I didn't want to do.
But I was oddly well suited for.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and take credit right now for identifying when he was doing the sound post in 2007 on our movie. I thought, hey, this kid's got something. Hey, this kid's got some moxie. I don't know what that accent was. Mark, edit that out.
Who's Mark?
No, like marker, like beep, marker, edit. All right.
Well, we
Work
now
in
have
progress.
an invisible editor
Named
assistant
Mark.
named Mark. So whenever we need something done,
Mark,
get in here.
freaking Mark. Anyway, yeah. So I knew early on that Darren would make a good producer, and I patiently forced him to do more and more producer-y things over time.
That's what happened.
Yep.
So honestly, I mean, I think out of necessity and out of a desire to not do anything else but work in film, we just started figuring out how to begin giving value to people. I mean, I think that's what it comes down to, is value. Up until 2013, when we both got on a project at the LDS Motion Picture Studios, and I was there for about 8 months, and you were there for like a year and a half.
Yeah, I was there for a long time.
And so we both were kind of taken care of for that chunk of time, and our business, Telekinesis Entertainment, kind of just sat dormant,
languished.
waiting for us to come and unlock the door.
Yeah, in 2012 we did some client work.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up leaving that job we were working on. I was there for 18 months, but I took 2 months off right in the middle while you were on set.
Right.
I came and did some client stuff, and then I went back and worked in visual effects
Right.
for another year.
Yeah, and then I came off of that project May 1st, basically, of 2013. 2013.
Mm-hmm.
We had a baby, our second baby,
Yep.
May 6th of that year. And I realized, well, I can either figure out how to run a business that makes money not just for us, but for two families with
Yep.
kids, and expenses and budgets to, think about. So I just dove in, I think, head first, feet first. Which one's better?
Butt first.
But first, I did a cannonball
Yep.
into the pool of filmmaking. Stop. Stop.
Mark?
Dead end. But I dove in and figured out how to be a producer and how to get work, how to get clients. We realized that.
Well, and that was a process too. It wasn't like you started doing that in May of 2013 and suddenly we had a bunch of clients. You started doing that in May of 2013, and we really started booking a lot of work and staying very busy in August or September of 2014. I mean, it was a journey to get. I mean, we were working that whole time. There was stuff cropping up,
and there were moments.
and
So
we were
it was
finding
like
things.
May of
But we definitely
2013 to the end of 2013, all culminated in like a crap ton of work at the beginning of 2014 we had like
That's true.
60 grand
We did a
booked
ton of work
for that
the
first
that
quarter.
first 2-3 months.
And then the summer of last year was horrible, and I realized I actually didn't know what I was doing, and started reading some books and started working harder, and that's when we finally
and working smarter too. We
Working
did
smarter.
We did a lot of different things that we were doing.
Yeah.
And I think we'll do a podcast later where we go in depth. I'm going to grill you.
I like that idea.
On what
'Cause this
you're-
one's probably long enough for people already.
Yeah, what are we at?
18 minutes.
Okay.
We got 2 minute countdown. No, we
2
can.
minutes. Nah, we can do more than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
30,
I think we'll
31.
do
Let's take
we'll do
bets.
a full podcast on what your process is as a producer and business owner for not even as a producer, as a business owner. What is your process for getting clients?
Yeah, they're
doing
two
that
very
kind of
different
thing?
roles.
Yeah.
Running a production company that's specifically centered on catering to client work, commercial work, is very different than being a producer who's going out trying to find investment for narrative film projects.
Yeah,
I think they're two separate
completely
jobs.
different things. And you're doing both of them right
And
now.
I'm trying
for a while.
to do both of them right now.
Yep. So, but anyway, yeah. So starting, we were really busy that first part of 2014, and then things slowed down a little bit. Darren changed his process, but I mean, the big takeaway for me from that was up until the middle of 2013, most of the work that we got as telekinesis was stuff that I had brought in through my personal contacts and stuff. And I'm terrible at this. I'm not good at it, which is why we worked so sporadically. I didn't focus on it, and it was just people who knew me who were like, "Oh yeah, you make good stuff. I should hire your company." And it was 100% word of mouth. It was not me pursuing leads at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that changed from almost everything coming in being from me to, when was the last thing that I even booked? I don't even remember. It's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been great for me, because now I just get to show up and think about how to make things pretty.
And get frustrated at the fact there's no money in the bank account.
Also that sometimes, but
Yeah, I think that's behind us finally.
it seems to be that way.
Yeah. So
That is another takeaway. That is a valuable takeaway that I learned. That it's just been my entire time in film. Like, film production, whether you're doing client work or film production work, is 100% feast or famine. You cannot, if you have a good 5 months, you cannot bank on having the rest of your life be exactly like that.
Yeah, or even the next 5 months.
Or even the
Exactly
next
like
5
that.
months. So it's really, really important to live within a budget and make sure that every time you're making money, you are saving as much of that money as you can, because that'll tide you over the slow times.
Yeah, we had to float a good 3 or 4 months last summer.
Yeah,
So
there
that
was
was fun.
3.5 months where we didn't have any income. But we were both able to do it because we'd had such a good first part of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both not idiots now, unlike earlier when we were idiots.
I feel like we need at least 1 or 2 more good takeaways for these fine folks listening to our faces talk at them.
We do. Okay.
My mantra for 2014 We
Yeah,
talked
you do
about
your
this the other
mantra,
day.
and then I've got a thing for 2014.
The biggest thing I've learned so far is, well, I'll put it this way. My mantra for 2015 is put up or shut up. You have to make it happen, whether you're trying to build a business that's catering to commercial work and clients, or you're trying to make feature films. We're, for some reason, trying to do both at the same time.
Because we're masochists.
Because we're
Yay!
masochists, and we're overconfident, probably. But that's my biggest thing is taking on the responsibility and realizing that nothing's just going to come to your door and say, hey, I've got $1 million for you to make a movie because I like you guys. You have to make it happen, whether it's getting new clients or getting bigger projects, more projects, finding investment, making a film happen. You have to make it happen. I had this really bad habit of just whenever we had an idea and we felt like, oh, this is awesome and we want to make this thing, we would go out and tell everybody about it. I'd tell my family and I'd tell other people that I want to work with us, like, hey, we're going to make this thing. And then a month goes by and 3 months goes by and 6 months and a year goes by and we still haven't made that thing.
To be fair, I'm much worse at that than you are.
We're probably just as bad as each other. I feel
That's-
like I'm terrible at that. So I'm resolving
Yeah.
to not do that this year, but rather...
Darren's also resolving to not ever tell me anything because I just instantly run off to everybody. We're going to make this thing and it's going to be so awesome. I want you to be my DP on it.
Well, that and it's more fun now for me to come into the office and say, hey, guess what? We just booked a client, and then you get all squee, and that makes me feel good
I get
about
real
my life.
giggly when there's going to be money.
And the flip side of put up or shut up is I'm not taking any crap from anyone this year. We've dealt with way too many people that we've sat down with and bought their lunch, and they told us that they can make XYZ happen, and then again months go by and nothing, and we sit and wait, and we're banking on this big project or this thing to happen at the expense of finding more work and finding other potential investors and whatever it may be. And so all of our projects and the current state of our business has suffered because we've waited on other people who have talked a good game and never actually moved money into our hands.
Especially with our narrative projects, that is probably the biggest issue we've had is since 2009 up until we got really busy in 2012, that entire 3-year span, we would find one person who would say, oh yeah, I know people, and we would just sort of put all our eggs in that basket and completely ignore trying to talk to anybody else, work with anybody else as like an executive producer or whatever.
Yeah.
And waste 3 months or 5 months on one person. And we did that how many times? Like 5 or 6 different times.
Easily. And to be clear, we're not using that as an excuse. We're saying that was our mistake.
Yeah, no, it was stupid. What we did was the wrong thing.
That was on us. So we're not trying to make excuses for why we haven't lived our dreams yet, but it's more of a kick in the nuts of, hey, wake up, you've been doing it wrong. It's time to change your system, because it's that whole...
Now, I don't know what Darren's saying about not living our dreams. I had a bowl of Frosted Flakes this morning. Accomplished. Unlocked achievement.
All right, what's your main positive energy awesome thing for 2015?
So for 2015, one of the things that we've done really well the last year and a half is we just upped our output. Starting in 2013, we actually did a bunch of relatively small projects for people locally and some other stuff that were either no budget or very low budget, and based off of that stuff, it increased our output, so we had a bunch more stuff on our reel, so that we went to talk to people, we could show them things, and that has made a huge difference in. I mean, Darren's approach has changed, and he's learned a lot of stuff, and he's much better able to sort of sell clients in the room, but part of being better able to sell clients in the room is opening up the laptop and pulling up YouTube and like, here's 9 other videos that we did in the last 6 months. Here's a marketing thing almost exactly like what you want that we did for this company, and it boosted their da-da-da. So upping our output and putting more effort, because we had done a few cheap little free things before that, and they were just crappy.
Yeah.
They were not good. They weren't worth showing to anybody. And I realized that just wasn't cutting it. So since the middle of 2013, I've just been sort of, as Darren has taken more of the role of worrying about getting us stuff, I've put all of my energy into just 100% into creative, which has allowed our output to go up and the quality of our output to go up significantly, I feel like.
Well, to tie it all back into the title of our podcast, Film Triggers, in that regard, it was a matter of thinking about what clients want. And what they want is certainty.
Yeah.
They want to be able to know that if they give you $5,000 or $10,000, that's not going to be money that they're wasting and are going to have to go spend another $5,000 or $10,000 to have someone else do the thing that you failed to do. So by being able to show them exactly the kind of thing that we can produce, they can look at it and have certainty that says, oh, they've already made a video that looks exactly like the one I want to make. I can give them money and get one of those, and it will help my business.
Yes, exactly.
So, film trigger number 1. I don't know that we want to create a list.
Certitude.
I don't want to remember the list of things that we're going through, but that's a lesson.
You can make a spreadsheet.
I could. I love spreadsheets. Like nobody's business.
Okay, so this is another lesson. This is completely unrelated, but for all the aspiring filmmakers out there, if you are a filmmaker at heart and you really want to make the pictures and the sounds and manipulate people's emotions and you don't want to have to think about things, find someone who loves making spreadsheets. Because you're going to have to do a load of spreadsheets. And just find somebody that loves doing them that's not you.
Yeah.
Or if you love doing spreadsheets and you love filmmaking, congratulations, you just won the Triple Crown.
Yay.
Triple? There should be 3 things there. I don't remember.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Don't know.
Horse racing. Something.
Yep.
Yay, Film Triggers. How do we close out?
I don't know. I think we need to say thanks for listening. If you want to, you can find us on iTunes and subscribe there.
Yep.
You can go to telekinesisentertainment.com/podcast.
We're there too.
And you can listen
to them. Are we doing show
there.
notes for this?
I don't know that we'll do show notes, but if we ever have an intern or an assistant, we will probably do show notes.
Mark's going to do show notes for us at some point. When Mark stops being a fictional construct, we're going to introduce you to Mark, and it's going to be really weird. I
really want our assistant, our first hire, to be Mark now.
No, what I really want is for our hire to take care of this stuff to be a person that we call Mark, and it's like a girl. We hire some young college student.
Well, whoever our assistant is, the title of assistant will be Mark.
The title will be Mark.
And their business card will say Mark.
And then their name.
And then we'll have Junior Mark. Senior Vice President of Mark.
Senior Vice President of Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to have a weird company.
So check that out. You can find us on YouTube and watch the visual version of this podcast.
The visual version will be
channel,
improving on the backlot. Yep, Telekinesis Backlot. All one word.
That's the channel name. Yeah, and at some point we'll have swag and we'll have cool things. And
oh, sponsor message. This episode brought to you by...
Oh, geez. Find something.
Sony headphones. These are the best headphones you can get. Well, there's AKG ones that are really nice. But these are the industry standard, the MDR 7506s. Very comfy, sound great. We didn't use them today.
Because we're in the same room.
Because we're literally 3 feet from each other.
I did test things in the headphones before.
Sounds good.
Am I still sounding like I'm
sound
there?
Great.
Awesome.
Okay.
See,
so,
they're good for that.
Sony headphones.
Thanks, Sony.
Buy them on...
You just got $6,000 worth of advertising for free.
Buy them on stores and the interwebs.
That's the going rate for us, right?
$6,000 for us making fun of a product?
For a sponsor.
For yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.